This week in realist history, we're going to talk about the Wild Wild West. Okay? You know, some of y'all watching this. Maybe some cowboys, maybe some cowgirls, okay? Especially y'all got your boots on the damn ground, okay? You're popping your fan, you're doing these trail rides and all this shit, okay? But the West was way deeper than that, all right? So we're going to talk about it briefly here. On the realest, most entertaining show in the game. Put it on something. I am your homeboy first, of course. All right, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. Put all your people on it, okay? Remember, I am an award-winning U.S. history teacher, turned full-time entertaining entrepreneur. I am doing basically teaching my class in an unfiltered way here in response to the second term of Donald John Trump. Because obviously his election shows that some people are uneducated, undereducated, and miseducated. So I'm going to do my part. Okay? So again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button, put all your people on. Okay? Y'all can catch segments of realist history. Every week I'm going to put it on something. Okay? I'm going to give y'all all your other shit. I'm also going to give you, as my granny would say, this learning. You feel me? All right. So let's get into it, y'all. Our objectives for this week are to analyze the impact of mining and railroads on the settlement of the West. We're going to explain how ranching affected Western development. And lastly, we're going to discuss the ways various peoples lived in the West and their impact on the environment. Okay, those are our objectives. Let's look at some key terms for this particular section. All right. First one, vigilante, like that word, self-appointed law enforcer. You take the law into your own damn hands, you are a vigilante. All right, transcontinental railroader, rail link between the eastern and western United States. Just a goddamn railroad that goes across the whole damn United States, okay? Land grant, land given by the federal government for building railroads, okay? Open range system in which ranchers did not fence in their property, allowing cattle to roam and graze freely. Okay. Next, very important law right there. Okay. The Homestead Act, 1862 law in which the government offered, get this, farm plots of 160 acres to anyone willing to live on the land for 5 years, dig a well, and build a road. 160 acres. That's hitting a lick. Okay? That's hitting a damn lick. We'll talk about that more within the lesson. Okay? Exodusters, African Americans who migrated from the South to the West after the Civil War. Okay? If you take a look at the term, it has Exodus in it. Okay, and if you read your Bible, read your Bible. You know, like Tyler Perry's Medea character says, read your Bible. Okay, you got Exodus in it. You know, Exodus in the Bible when the Hebrews leaving Egypt. You know, Moses led the Hebrews out of Egypt. So the Exodusters were those black folks leaving their bondage in the South after the Civil War and going to the West side. You feel me? All right, so those are our key terms for this particular section. All right, our overarching question is what economic and social factors changed the West after the Civil War? Okay, so that's what we're going to be really focusing on. And I forgot to mention this to y'all as well. Again, these slides are not written by me. These slides accompanied the textbook I used to teach out of. All right, so these slides were put together by PhDs. You know what I'm talking about? So if you disagree with some of the shit here, you're disagreeing with motherfuckers who actually even know more history than I do. Okay, so stop the cap. And that's why I got the comments turned off on realist history, just so these MAGA motherfuckers can't come on here and try to mislead y'all, okay? I am trying to help the real ones by spreading truth, not no bullshit. All right, let's get into it. All right, It says in the late 1800s, miners, rail workers, ranchers, and farmers moved to the frontier in hopes of building better lives. The industrial and agricultural booms they created helped transform the West. All right. The discovery of gold and silver created the first great boom in the West, mining. With each new find, prospectors rushed to the site, hoping to strike it rich. Others followed, bringing food and supplies. Mining camps quickly sprang up. Many camps grew into thriving communities. Okay, now, y'all have heard of the gold rush, right? Okay, you've heard of the gold rush. Uh, I used to like to tell my students how just basic shit in your everyday life in music and movies and TV shows and sports. A lot of shit's tied to history, and you can appreciate it more the more history you know. So take this for instance. Of course, you know the San Francisco 49ers uh, football team in the NFL. Okay, they rock those gold helmets, right? Tied to the gold rush. The name of the team being the 49ers, tied to 1849. You know what I'm talking about? Part of the gold rush. That was a heavy year for the gold rush. You feel me? So, and you can do the same thing with a lot of different teams across sports. You know what I'm talking about? Like, of course, Dallas Cowboys, you know, being in Texas and Texas having that cowboy culture and all that kind of shit. Okay, that makes sense. The Tennessee Titans actually used to be in Houston and used to be called the Houston Oilers because you know Texas known for the oil game. You know what I'm saying? Pittsburgh being the Pittsburgh Steelers because we know the steel industry was and I'm guessing probably still is very big up there in that area. So I can go on and on and on. Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA. You know, to my 1776. You know, America's birth was July 4th, 1776, you know, Declaration of Independence, all that kind of shit. So there's so much that's tied to history, and you can appreciate this shit the more history you know. Okay, so just a little aside for you right there. But let's focus on something else here. So you had the folks rushing out there to try to get rich. Of course, you know, somebody you hear a motherfucker got some gold somewhere. Oh shit, I'm finna go out there and try to get me some gold, get rich. Right? Makes sense. But then you had, we see how it says right there, others followed, bringing food and supplies. So while you got these miners going, these prospectors going to try to get rich by finding gold, you got other motherfuckers who are going to try to get rich off the folks who going to look for the gold. You know what I'm talking about? Because the motherfuckers that looking for the gold, they gonna get hungry. And they might have to come to my little tavern or some shit. You know what I'm talking about? My little restaurant and get them something to eat. You know what I'm talking about? Get them something to drink. You know what I'm talking about? They gonna need some supplies. So maybe I'm not out there goddamn looking for the gold, but I sell you the shit that you need to look for. You know what I'm talking about? That's how I'm gonna make my money. See what I'm saying? And so how you see how you gonna eventually have your little community come about because of that. Make sense? Let's go. All right. Because they had no judges or jails, miners often set their own rules for administering justice. In the early days, vigilantes took the law into their own hands. As towns grew, they hired marshals and sheriffs. Some towns, however, disappeared as quickly as they appeared. Boom towns turned to ghost towns when the gold and silver ran out. Okay. So vigilantes, this is that shit you be seeing in them cowboy movies when you see them boys go out there and let's take this outside. You know, and everybody in the goddamn saloon got a tool on them. You know what I'm saying? All of them got a little thing on their hip and shit. You know what I'm saying? And they go outside and they have their little showdown. You know, the little music be playing. Something like that. Okay. And you see them motherfuckers staring at each other. You know what I'm saying? They staring at each other and shit. You know, make the first move, punk. You know what I'm saying? Doing some shit like that. And then, you know, they might have like they might face off sometimes, you know, they be back to back and they used to like take 5 steps and then turn and shoot, some shit like that. Motherfucker might cheat. You know what I'm saying? You know, you've seen that. and the quickest draw in the land, you know, all that shit. I used to make my students do that shit in class. I used to make my students have a little shootout. You know what I'm saying? And I used to do the little music. I used to do that in the class. They would laugh and shit. I would act like we had some little tumbleweeds rolling and shit. And I went and bought. Now sometimes we just balled up some paper and I had them do it like that. But I think I went and bought some little toy guns from the dollar store as well one time. And little toy guns that had little rubber things in it that if you shoot it, it'll stick to a window or something like that. I bought that to make it fun and had them motherfuckers have a little shootout in the class because my students really didn't find this chapter as entertaining as a bunch of my other chapters. You know what I'm saying? So I had to do something to spice that shit up. I would try to spice every chapter up with something, and so that's what I would do with this particular chapter. And that was our example of vigilante justice. Okay, you're taking the law into your own damn hands, and I don't know, that made the shit fun for us. Wasn't too fun if your ass wasn't the quickest draw in the land in real life back then. You know what I'm talking about? Shit was over with. But as the slide says, as towns grew, they hired marshals and sheriffs, and then so y'all know how prominent those marshals and sheriffs were in those old cowboy movies and shit that y'all like to watch, that your granddad and grandmama and them like to watch and shit. I know my mama used to like to watch. I think Matt Dillon. I don't know yet. Real ones, y'all might know what the hell Matt Dillon is on, but ooh, Matt Dillon to get you. That what my mom used to say. So long live my mama. I love you so much. Let's go, y'all. Large companies soon took over the mining business from individual prospectors. These large companies, y'all, could afford the heavy equipment needed to bring mineral ores out from deep underground. And they were supported by the government with cheap land. So these big businesses been putting small businesses out of business since business been going on. Let's go. All right, as industries grew in the West, so did the need for railroads to transport goods and people. The railroads soon began work to fulfill a long-time goal to build a transcontinental railroad linking the East and the West. The government supported this goal through loans and land grants. Y'all see how immersed government is with private industry? Do you see this? Hold on, goddammit. Do you see this now? I want you to pay attention to that. Because you see how these motherfuckers today be trying to act like government ain't supposed to play no role in shit. You see? Okay? This in the motherfucking 1800s. All right? All right, then want to make sure y'all see that shit now. Okay? And something so important as the transcontinental railroad linking east and west, something that's going to allow motherfuckers to travel from east to west and west to east. We're going to be able to get this product off from west to east and east to west. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be able to get this mail across this bitch quicker. It's going to revolutionize the country. And the government supported the effort. You know what I'm saying? Government does play a sizable role in bettering this damn country. That's why we need good government. Not the bullshit we got now. Let's go. All right. In 1863, the Central Pacific headed eastward from Sacramento. The Union Pacific headed westward from Omaha. They finally met at Promontory, Utah in 1869. Excuse me. And where they met and put the last spike in was captured in a famous photo that I will share with y'all right now. All right, so here is a picture that shows men celebrating after they completed the Transcontinental Railroad. All right, when they so-called drove in the last spike, that golden spike, you feel me? Because they know that these motherfuckers finna get some money off of this jack. You know what I'm saying? This railroad finna really help the economy. You understand? So you see these boys, they turning up and shit. Motherfucker, you can, if you look closely up there, cub popping bottles, you know what I'm talking about? They're doing a bit real big. All right, so this was a really big deal. This was a great engineering feat for the United States of America, and really uh, revolutionized our economy and communication. Because again, you ain't got no can't just FaceTime a motherfucker back then, y'all. If you try to talk to your little boot thing, you gonna have to send her some mail. You know what I'm saying? And if you trying to get it, trying to tell her you want that, you want that good by mail, and they got to take that shit over there on horseback, she gonna get the message. Maybe too late. Maybe somebody else scooped her up. But now, goddamn it, they can carry it by train across the country. You know what I'm talking about? It just made shit better in general. Y'all, okay. And of course, y'all know, and this picture looks like it's just white brothers, okay? But y'all best to know, black people played a role in building those railroads. A lot of Chinese immigrants played a role in building those railroads as well now. So let's not get that shit twisted. Let's go, y'all. Work on the railroad had been difficult and dangerous, but it brought tremendous changes to the country. And these are some of the effects. It tied the nation together, moved products and people, spurred industrial development, stimulated the growth of towns and cities, because a lot of towns and cities really grew up along those railroads, transportation hubs. If you pay attention, some of the biggest cities in our country, of course, are by waterways, but they're also by railroads. Okay. And lastly, encourage settlers to continue to move west. All right, let's go. The railroad boom encouraged another Western boom, the cattle boom. For years, ranchers had used an open range system for raising livestock. Property was not fenced in. Cattle were branded, then grazed freely. And cowboys, here we go, rounded up the cattle each spring. Okay. Let's go a little deeper into this cowboy shit. All right. Cowboys then drove cattle north to the rail lines so they could be transported to market. The long, hard cattle drives could last for months. They ended at railroad towns called cow towns. So look, this is what I was talking about. Okay. For all my cowboys, cowgirls out there, that shit way deeper than you just putting on some nice boots and shit. Way deeper than you just putting on some cowboy hat. You know what I'm saying? It's deeper than that. You got this big old belt buckle and shit. Now you a cowboy. That shit, that might be what it mean today. All right. But that was some hard ass work back in the gap. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And for the record, a lot of cowboys were black. Okay. Blacks and Latinos. Why? Because there's some hard ass fucking work. Some hard work. And so often in this country, undesirable jobs are done by the people who America deems to be undesirable. You feel me? And I'm not saying no white people were cowboys. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the way that cowboy movies make it seem, the amount of black and Latino cowboys was much more sizable than cowboy movies make it seem. Okay. Because a lot of them cowboy goddamn pictures make it look like black and Latino cowboys were non-existent. And that's just bullshit. That was some hard ass shit to do. All right. So think about that next time you're strapping on your boots or pulling up your boots and strapping on your belt, putting on your 10-gallon hat. All right. Ask yourself, damn, could I really have done that shit? Could I, be on a months long cattle drive to get these damn cows to this railroad so they can go to the slaughterhouse, really? Okay. That's what that job was all about. Let's go. All right. By the mid 1880s, however, the cattle boom was coming to an end. And these are the reasons the open range system ended. The invention of barbed wire made fencing cheap. The supply of beef exceeded demand and prices dropped. And extreme weather led to the death of herds. Like miners and ranchers, farmers also moved west, looking for a better life. Railroad companies encouraged pioneer settlement. So did the government. Under the 1862 Homestead Act, the government gave land to farmers willing to tend it. I told you, acres and acres of fucking land. Okay, this was hitting the lick. Easterners, exodusters, and immigrants soon poured onto the Great Plains. Okay, think about it. Now, some of you may have missed the first editions of Realist History. You can go watch them all on my channel. Got a playlist called Realist History. Okay, you can go watch that. The first segments that I did were mainly focusing on industrialization in the East. Okay, then the next chapter was focusing on immigration and urbanization. Okay, those two things kind of really go together. If you watch those, you'll understand how fucking crowded these eastern cities like New York and Philadelphia and Boston and shit were becoming. So with that overcrowdedness, a lot of motherfuckers, shit, were just looking for somewhere to go, and the West gave them somewhere to go, and the government gave them this motherfucking lick right here with the Homestead Act. Now, you see that exodusters went, so that's black folks from the South went. Okay, you got some immigrants fresh off the boat, white folks fresh off the boat going from Europe. Okay, but you better believe that even in this shit, it was largely discriminatory. Okay, that's why Dr. King brought this shit up in a speech that Dr. King made that too many people uh don't talk about. Google or go on YouTube and type in Dr. King speech on the economy, something like that. Make sure you put Dr. King and or economic justice, something like that, and watch that version of Dr. King, and you're gonna hear him say some shit. And he talks about how America helped its white peasants. That's how Dr. King put it. How America helped its white poor people through shit like the Homestead Act. Meanwhile, black people who were formerly enslaved didn't get their motherfucking 40 acres and a mule. And when it came to the Homestead Act, and then by the time Dr. King was saying it in the 60s, you had a bunch of other shit that we'll get into, like the GI Bill and all this other shit that was supposed to help Americans. And that was, black people were systematically left out of in big ways. You feel me? That man was fucking brilliant. He was so educated. The man knew his shit. Okay? But this was a motherfucking lick right here, the Homestead Act. So when some of these folks be acting like their ancestors just got it on their own, and I don't know why the blacks are complaining today, and I don't know why they always have their hand out. Motherfucker, your ancestor might have benefited from this shit. So shut your ass up. Let's go. Life on the plains was difficult and lonely. With little wood available, homesteaders made houses from sod. Storms, droughts, and locusts ruined crops. This is a hard fucking life now. Shit wasn't just sweet out there. Now, I did say motherfuckers hit a lick on the land, but I ain't saying that it still wasn't difficult though. You know what I'm talking about? I give them credit for building shit up. New inventions and farming methods, however, made life easier. Barbed wire, stronger plow, grain drill, windmill, dry farming techniques. All right. For many Americans, the West was a place to build new lives, but it also was a place of conflict. You had economic rivalries, motherfuckers beefing over money. Okay. Cattle destroyed crops. Okay. Sheep ruined grasses. Mining runoff polluted water. Control of resources was disputed. Okay. So again, some of that shit you was seeing in them cowboy movies was based in some truth. You know what I'm talking about? In terms of them folks beefing out there and having this shoot them up, bang bang type of shit, because they were really beefing over money and all kind of shit. I remember my mama watching, I don't know what show is it, whichever show has the Cartwrights, I think. You know, the motherfuckers that were living on the Ponderosa. And some episode, these folks were coming through their land and shit. You know, like the Ponderosa with this big ass, I guess, acres and acres of land that this motherfucker owned, this big ass huge ranch. And these boys came through this man property like they just gonna set up some shop. And they got to shooting and shit. You know? Because they wanted to use cuz land, but he was like, no, you ain't finna use my land for that shit. You know what I'm saying? So you had these economic rivalries. But you also had this social conflicts, prejudice, discrimination, ethnic tensions. Okay? Just like the rest of the damn country. But with the West, man, you sure enough had a lot of diversity, because when you got the Exodusters go that way, yeah, you got black folks, then you got the white folks, you got the Native Americans who were already there, and the Native Americans who were driven there from their homes east of the Mississippi River. You got the Latinos, you know, because much of the American West used to be Mexico. Now, that's outside the purview of this particular course that I'm teaching. I'm doing U.S. history 1877 to the present. Okay, but if you watch something else online about the Mexican American War, you can learn more about that. Okay, but much of the motherfucking West used to be Mexico. That's why the shit got Spanish names and shit. Los Angeles. Okay, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, San Antonio. You know what I'm talking about? This shit is Spanish. You know what I'm saying? So you still got them out there. And then I mentioned Chinese immigrants who helped build the railroads and shit. So you got all these different folks up in here, but still the same racism and discrimination. So a lot of tense shit. All right, a lot of tense shit. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. All right, the last land rush took place in 1889 when the government opened the Oklahoma Territory to homesteaders. Okay, now my Oklahoma Territory used to be Indian Territory. We'll speak on that momentarily. Boom, quote unquote, boomers lined up to stake claims. Quote unquote, Sooners sneaked in early to take the best ones. The next year, the government declared there was no land left for homesteading. The frontier was closed. All right, so those of y'all who fuck with like Oklahoma football, you probably, Oklahoma University, the Oklahoma Sooners, you've heard of them if you fuck with college football. Okay, you heard of Boomer Sooner. It ties to history. Okay, but it's kind of fucked up. They had told these Native Americans, hey, we gonna drive your ass from your lands in the east. We gonna give your ass this territory. But eventually the government said, nah, you know what? Fuck that. We still gonna let white folk come in this bitch too. That's America, Jack. That's America, Jack. All right, but we knocked out another one, y'all. Let's go back and review real quick. Key terms. All right, one more time. Again, so we talked about vigilantes, motherfuckers that take the law into their own damn hands. Okay, transcontinental railroad, rail link between the east and the west, a railroad that went across the whole damn United States. Okay, land grant was land given by the federal government, especially to build the railroads. Okay, open range system, a system in which ranchers didn't fence in their property. They just let the cattle just do what they wanted to do. They had them branded and shit, so you know what your property is, but they just let the cattle, roam free. Homestead Act, a law that gave hella land, okay, hella land to anyone willing to live on the land for 5 years, dig a well, and build a road and shit. A lot of folks hit licks off of the Homestead Act. And Exodusters, black folks who migrated from the South to the West after the Civil War. All right, so we have knocked out another segment, another edition of Realist History here on Put It On Something. I appreciate y'all for being down with me. Please, please, please share, 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 share. Like. Join the channel. Okay, you're not getting this kind of unfiltered real shit from nobody else. I know my shit, but I can speak language. I can code switch on the spot. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna get that nowhere else on this goddamn internet. You know what I'm about? So make sure you fuck with me and go back and watch all segments of Realist History, okay? Because you ain't gonna get this nowhere else but right here on the Realest, most entertaining show in the game. Put it on something.